Happy New Year! We are going to show you what is up in 2025. To start the year off right, Bubba calls out the evil that was responsible for the senseless deaths that occurred during the New Year's celebration in New Orleans. There's a battle going on, folks, between good and evil. But one side has already won the war. Are you on that side? Bubba unveils his lofty 2025 goals of doubling the number of followers and subscribers on all podcast and social media platforms. Good luck. He needs you to help make that happen. Want to hear about some big-name guests possibly coming on the podcast in 2025? Bubba's going to drop some names that may surprise you. And just so none of our segment choices feel left out, Bubba's going to take them on himself on this episode. And I'm okay with that. Just please, no more shirtless ice bath reels. Yikes. Here comes 2025 on the What Is Up podcast, and here's your host, Bubba Seaman.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Happy New Year. What is up? I had a whole nice intro all wrote out, but it kind of sucks when you wake up and you hear the news that somebody killed a bunch of people in the French Quarter by driving their pickup truck into a crowded area on Bourbon Street. So kind of wouldn't be real life if I just acted like that didn't happen. And so it kind of makes you take notice, no matter what you believe, this whole past year, I've been adamant that you don't got to believe the same way I do to be a listener or to sit in the guest chair or anything like that. Of course, I wish more people had faith in God. I think that there's not a biblical principle that if you apply it to your life, your life doesn't improve. I believe every bit of the Bible. So, but no matter what you believe, events like that kind of make you take notice, and you take notice that there is evil in the world, that not just bad things happen, but what horribly bad, wrong, we all know murder's wrong. Well, where does that come from? There is a standard, and we recognize that as what happened last night as evil. The Bible speaks of a battle going on right now in our midst that it may not be visible to the human eye, but it's happening all around us. If we really pay attention, the battle between good and evil is happening around us all the time. And I really don't want any of my listeners to make the mistake of being ignorant or not understanding that, to think that God is in control of all things good, and he's being rivaled by Satan or the devil or, evil forces, demons, whatever you want to call that, no matter what you believe, that you think like they're rivals to each other, like they're on equal footing, because Satan is no match for God. Evil has already been defeated with Jesus' death, burial, and resurrection on the cross. That kind of sealed Satan's fate. There is a day coming where evil and Satan, they will have no more power and influence, according to the Bible. Hell, when people talk about hell, they think, God's in control of heaven, Satan's in control of hell. No, that's another misconception. That is not what the Bible teaches. Satan will spend eternity in hell suffering just like everyone else that's there. So I would encourage you, if you've never given Jesus a real look, or you've got your doubts about the Bible, I'm like Dr. Frank Turek. I think it takes more faith to be an atheist. And I have atheist friends, but I think it takes more faith, believing in what you can't see, believing in what you can't explain, to be an atheist than to be a follower of Christ, to be a believer in the Bible, which has a whole lot of support behind it. So, I maybe make this year, the year that you get on the winning team, because that spiritual battle is raging. Just come to Jesus. He's already taken care of everything else. He just wants you to come to him. That's it. You can always reach out to me if you want to talk privately, or you need help understanding some stuff more. that's totally fine. I'm available for that too. So I just had to start by noting that man, that's so horribly wrong and evil, and that's how our year gets started. So this time of year is hard for me because all the good stuff is over. Starting with the fall is the best time for me. I really love it. High school football, and then you're building up to the changing of the seasons, cooler weather, Thanksgiving, first season shotgun, deer season, Christmas time with family, all that good stuff. My mom, she just flew up with my nephew and stayed pretty much a whole week around Christmas time. And that was the first time they were up. Usually my mom comes during deer season, but it's always kind of rushed, and then I'm out hunting most days. So this was nice, man. She was up here. She took over the kitchen, and that's always a good thing when your mom comes to town and just takes over your kitchen and feeds you every single day. It's really nice. So, but now that all that good stuff is behind us, I'm like, okay, well, what do I got to look forward to? I'm the kind of guy, you always got to have something to look forward to. And really all that's left is like, the NFL playoffs and the Super Bowl and that's it. Like all those other good things are behind us now. So I got to force myself to look on the bright side of things, what this year could bring and what I can do to make this the best year possible. And that's where goals come in. And I know some of you guys probably just want to hit the snooze. Oh, come on, goals or New Year's resolutions. I don't make resolutions. They just fail way too easily. Just make goals for yourself, even if they're small goals. That's how it starts. We can only control one thing in this world, and that's what I just got done telling my nephew. You can control one thing in this world, and that's your own actions. Everything else is out of your control. So let's be intentional about what we're doing with our lives and with our time this year. I'm going to try and go through the Bible in a year again. It's been a while since I've done that. And I'll tell you, for anyone else who's struggled reading the Bible through, whether in a year or not, I go in the chronological order. There's Bible reading plans that you can follow, and then there's actual just Bibles you can buy that they print in order, from the beginning all the way to Revelation. But it's all in order. So as you read it, it's kind of like reading a book, and it's all in order. And it made it so much easier for me. That's really the only way I can follow along and do it. I might try and get down to 200 pounds this year. I just barely touched it, got within a couple pounds last year, but wasn't trying as hard to just lose weight. I'm been incorporating some weights, and when you do free weights, that kind of hurts the losing weight effort. So I'm at least going to try and make that goal, get off this 220 mark, keep lifting, keep doing some cardio, keep a good mix going, and continue that ice bath routine that I may have embarrassed my kids with posting that reel, but you guys saw that, yeah, I got into the whole ice bath thing. It's been like 2 weeks now, still going, still getting the hang of it, learning how to keep that water cold but not too cold and warm it back up a little bit. So lots of good things going with that. And last I checked, that thing that reel that we did almost had 1,000 views. So it really, I thought that's a lot. And then my wife showed me this homemade Christmas potpourri reel she made, and it was up to like, I don't know how many, over 2,000. I was like, oh, just for boiling some cranberries and orange slices and sprigs of like pine branches. Okay, whatever. But so yeah, make some goals for yourself. Whether they're daily goals or weekly goals, put things in your daily or weekly routine that are good for you, and then try and get rid of, or at least limit those things that aren't any good for you, or get rid of completely the things that are bad for you. It's that simple. More good stuff in, more good stuff comes out. That's it. Don't let all that bad stuff in. It's that simple. So I'm really looking forward to another year of the What Is Up podcast. When I got this thing started, I said, I'd give it 2 years, and if something big was going to happen with it, it would probably happen at the end of that 2 years. If it hadn't happened in 2 years, it probably wasn't going to happen. So, we're starting year 2, and I honestly think this could be our biggest year yet, for sure. If it's not, it won't be for lack of effort. I'm really being intentional about bothering some pretty big names, some pretty big name people to be future guests. So we'll see what happens. Even though I say, this is real life, regular people. Everyone's got stories and experiences to share, but I also understand it can help your views if you have bigger names and stuff. And they have stories too. They do. So I've been pestering them on social media and different things, and we'll see what happens. But I'm a man who believes in setting goals. So if you don't shoot for it, it's never going to happen. So goals are just so good because whether it's fitness or racing 5Ks or triathlons, or maybe money management, Bible study, prayer. I even set goals on my fantasy football team. If you ask me, that's what makes you an elite level fantasy football coach. I have goals that I want to hit every year. When we started this thing, I said I'd give it my best for a couple years, and we'll just see what God does with it. So let's make 2025 the biggest growth year possible. And here's how I want to do that. I see other people kind of doing the similar thing to this, so I'll just put it out there. Let's go from 200 Spotify followers to 400 by Christmas this year. Okay, let's do, I think we're at about 100 YouTube subscribers to our YouTube channel. Let's double that to 200. We're at like 215 on Instagram. Let's double that 200 number to go 400 plus. Okay, and I think we're over 500, 530. We were 530. Now we're 527 followers on Facebook. Let's double that to 1,000. So yeah, it's weird how sometimes your social media followers will drop back down and then they'll go up. So I don't know what's all behind that, but I just know let's double all these numbers. And you can help me do that. Actually, you have to help me do that. I can't just do it on my own. It won't happen without you. Here's what you do. If you like a specific episode, if you like Dallas's episode, if you like Brock Biesecker's episode, anybody, Mike Benzo. I had a lot of compliments on Mike Benzo's episode, just a good old school farm boy. If you like that episode, or you like a social media post that we did, share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Don't just like it. It always helps to share it with them, and so it brings them, to my site, whether it's the podcast platform on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or the YouTube channel, or our social media. That's what these QR codes and things are for, to help people get right there to it, and encourage them to subscribe, follow, like, and stuff like that. Leave comments. That always helps a lot. See, I can't reach your family and friends unless you share this podcast with them first. So please help me, help you, help everyone that you know, if that makes sense to you. Okay? So before we get to today's episode, which would be our 40th episode and the first episode of 2025, I'm recording this on New Year's Day. I got to remind everybody, whether you're listening or watching, that's right, you can still watch in flawless high definition. I almost pointed this way because this is where the camera usually is, but now, of course, I got it in front of me. So don't forget to subscribe, follow, like, wherever you're listening or watching. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Leave us a 5-star rating if that's available. On YouTube, I think it's a thumbs up. On Spotify and Apple Podcasts, it's a star rating. Give us 5 stars. Click the bell to be notified about every new episode. Tell us what you think, whether you like or dislike, by leaving a comment. I love reading comments. This is how we continue to grow and reach more and more people. Follow our Facebook and Instagram for those funny reels and our merch giveaways. Share with all your friends on your social media. Show off your impeccable taste by sporting some of our merch. I'm wearing JJ's hooded sweatshirt today. Got nice hats. We got some good stuff. We're not trying to make any money off of it. We'll give it to you at cost. We're just trying to use it for advertising. That's all. Just email me, whatisuppodcast@gmail.com. Tell us what you want, what color, what size, what item, and Sarah, she'll hook you up. And then I want you to send me a picture of yourself wearing our merch. That helps as well. It's all about publicity. It is. A lot like me and the boys from the Talk of the Tribe podcast did in our earlier days. I recently entered an agreement with Jim and Dale from the Steve Brown Arts Center podcast to help each other out a little bit. And they more wanted some publicity for the Steve Brown Arts Center. I mean, they do have a podcast, but Jim reached out and asked if I would help by giving them a shout out on every episode, and they would return the favor. So I really want to encourage my listeners to check out the Steve Brown Arts Center, which is the creative heart of Buchanan County. It is the thriving community where art flourishes. With dynamic exhibits and interactive workshops, they spark creativity and passion. Discover a world of artistic inspiration at the Steve Brown Arts Center. To learn more about the Steve Brown Arts Center, just head on over to their Facebook page. All the information you need is there. Okay, once you've done all that, then you can sit back and enjoy the show. Like I said, this is our first episode of the year. No guest, just me. So it'll be a shorter one. We will be recording with our first guest of 2025 real soon. It's actually coming up this weekend, so it'll drop in another week or two. So when you guys will see it. That's right, I haven't forgot. You guys said have more women on. Our first guest in 2025, is a wife and a mom who's a United States Air Force veteran, has a degree in cell and molecular biology, so she's way smarter than me. Who then decided to become a dentist and has her own practice right there in Oelwein. So stay tuned for that one. That one's going to be dropping here a week or so after this one. So I wanted to possibly tease some of the bigger names. I kept hinting, and I had some of you guys ask me. I did this last year a little bit. I started hinting that maybe I was bothering some more well-known people, and some of you guys said, hey, who are you alluding to? And so I'm just going to go ahead and name drop some of the ones that have actually said, yes, I will come on. Some of the other ones I'll probably keep to myself because they haven't committed yet. But this guy, Matt Chenard, I found him on Instagram. The guy does ice bath videos. He's kind of what pushed me over the edge to finally start doing them. So if you check him out, obviously it's at Matt Chenard on social media. He's a Canadian former hockey player. He's a gym business owner who is pretty adamant about how 2020 really set them back and was very difficult and their struggles and stuff. But I noticed he gives back by offering classes and stuff to entrepreneurs and Christians that are in the business world. But one post that really caught my eye was he posted saying he had a decrease in followers when he began posting about his faith. Okay, and he saw a drop, and then he noticed that it came back though because the algorithms noticed certain things or whatever, or people didn't want to hear that kind of messaging. But then when the algorithm works, he started popping up in my feed, and so that it's a double-edged sword, and it worked out in his favor. So he's a really interesting guy. I hope to have him on and talk with him soon. He's got a lot of good stuff. Him and his wife, I believe they have one kid up there in Canada. So check him out on social media. It's good, encouraging stuff. Almost every single day this guy posts, and it's really good, encouraging stuff. So another guy that's committed, I've got his outline done. We're just trying to figure out when we're going to be able to record. It'll be over Zoom for my fans. Gosh, nobody's my fan. For my listeners that listen to Fox Sports Radio, you maybe heard of the Covino and Rich show. Rich Davis. He's a host of that show, and he also has the Have Kids They Said podcast. He hosts on that, and it's all around funny guy. Really, really good guy. I think some of his stuff we probably, some of his normal stuff we won't get into because when him and Steve get to talking about things I think they're on Sirius XM and another outlet, they get to talking and using some language and different things. But he said yes, and my kids have taught me if a blue check mark says yes to coming on the podcast, you have him on. So we got his episode just about ready to go to record. Another guy, another influencer, if you want to call it, on Instagram, Smokehouse Nick. Check him out at Smokehouse Nick. I don't want to say he's just an influencer, but he posts these awesome cooking reels all the time. He's partnered up with Weber. I think they keep sending him stuff because he does the flat top skillet type videos. And he always wears these cool shirts. They are just the most clever shirts. He's always got his dog on the porch in the background. He always feeds his dog a little bit. And sometimes, Mrs. Smokehouse Nick is in the shot. And then some of his videos, they'll show you, it's not just cooking videos. Sometimes he'll cook for, the teachers at school or, whatever. He always gives back as well, whether he's asked to or not. There's always different things he's doing that are very encouraging. Let's see, another big tease I got for you. Rich Clemente, former UFC star, put Louisiana mixed martial arts on the map. Now he's a gym owner in Slidell, but he's also a leader in the home healthcare industry based out of my hometown in Slidell. But there's a lot more to this guy, a lot more, and he actually made the time to have a phone conversation with me and tell me more about his life and to start setting up his episode. We had he only had 30 minutes. He went over on that for sure. So I kept him a little longer than he needed, but, we're workshopping his episode and getting things figured out. And again, another guy who's got a super busy schedule. He's involved in a lot of things, but, a real guy who's got he's got an interesting past and He's got an interesting future as well. So I'm hoping to get to a point where we can record that one over Zoom as well. But he's very busy, so it's hard to do. So there's a lot of work that goes into this. It ain't just call up your neighbor, hey, come over, let's push record. There's a lot that goes into it. So there's a few more big guests. I really shouldn't name drop until they actually commit to doing an episode like those that I just mentioned. So I'm not going to. I'm not going to name drop them because they haven't 100% committed yet. The material's in their hands. They got to decide. But I got a few more. There's sometimes future guests, they'll commit, but then it's a long process of emails or maybe some text or a phone call to actually get to the point of recording. And sometimes that takes so much time in between that I actually start to have doubts that we're actually going to get their episode done. Like Mark Woodley. This guy must be busy because we just can't seem to get his episode going, even though he accepted the invite to step into the basement and let us all in behind the curtain of our favorite KWWL sportscaster, who actually went viral a couple winters ago. So I'd love to talk with him about that and other things, and he's right there in Dyke and works in Waterloo at KWWL. So hopefully we can get that done. So that's just some of what I'm working on, and some of those other people that I didn't mention, we'll just have to wait and see. We'll see if I can land them. And with them would come all, thousands of their followers. And if I can just grab a fraction of them who find this thing entertaining or encouraging or a mix of both, well, then that's the secret formula. Then this thing will continue to grow. But on this episode, I wanted to introduce a segment that no one has chosen yet. Sometimes I do that. Every once in a while I'll do a solo episode. Yeah, that's what we're going to do on this one. I'm going to introduce this segment and give it a test run, and it's simply commercials. It's commercials. Are there any commercials lately, that are funny or cool or heartwarming, or horrible, I guess, but usually, I'm thinking pick out any cool or funny commercials that may have caught our attention lately, and I'm actually going to try and, play them for you now and stay on the screen, and we'll see if my computer crashes. It crashes, but we're going to try and do that. For me, I've got a bunch of them. You can think back over the years, and obviously there's been great Super Bowl commercials and stuff. But right now, I don't know if it's getting older, but I find some of these commercials funny. I'm not going to play them all for you, but the Progressive Becoming Your Parents commercial, those are great. And there's truth rooted in every one of those. I hate the Kansas City Chiefs, but the State Farm commercials with Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid. Andy Reid is a star. I don't want any of the other ones. I really don't. The ones with Andy Reid are hilarious. And sometimes there's ones that are really moving, like the Apple AirPods that have the hearing device, for people who are hearing impaired. It has something built right in there, and it's that commercial was really good about the one with the dad at Christmas time and all that. But I'm actually going to try and play for you one of my favorites right now, that one Uber Eats right now, and how, Matthew McConaughey is trying to say their NFL is trying to sell us food. So I'm going to try this, and we'll see if it works. Okay, here we go. Matthew McConaughey and Christian McCaffrey for Uber Eats.
Why am I still hungry?
Because you're watching football. The whole game is basically an elaborate scheme to make you buy more food. And it's working.
What are you talking about?
Dude, think about it. Turnovers, pancake blocks, scrambles. Oh, I just scored. Feed me more.
Come on, McConaughey.
Come on, McCaffrey. Julius Peppers, man. CJ Ham. Slather on some Gerard mayo and you got yourself a sandwich. Refrigerator Perry was not his real name.
You're being serious.
Yeah, they got you where they want you.
I don't think football's trying to sell you food.
Really? Come on, man. Can you go to Stanford?
I really don't.
And what are you eating, Jerry?
Rice.
Jerry's eating rice. Huh.
Game day deals only on Uber Eats.
That is good stuff. That's just funny. I love it. Funny. Let's see. Now I got one more that I will show you. This one's not as funny, but this one caught me a few years ago, I think. I saw it going around on the internet. I don't think we saw this commercial here in the United States, maybe. maybe we did, but I don't remember seeing it on TV. But this one, again, maybe it's being in my 40s. Well, this come out a few years back, so I probably was just about 40. Something happens, man. I don't know if it gets soft or what, but this one was Doc Morris, which I believe is like, I don't know if they're pharmaceuticals or eyeglasses or something like that. I don't know. I think they're pharmaceuticals maybe. And it's just this old man working out. And I'm not gonna spoil it for you. If you haven't seen it, you're about to see it for the first time. And like that Uber Eats one, that was that was the extended version. That was a 1 minute. So there was some stuff in there that we didn't see in the actual commercial. This one is about 3 minutes. So I just want you to watch it and just enjoy the journey. It's pretty good. We'll see if this works. Here it comes. It's all going to make sense in a second. Yeah, that just happened. Yeah, that one, I don't know. I don't know if it's old age or something, but like that, I hope I can still get after it like that at that age myself. But it kind of makes you think, yeah, what's important in life and stuff like that. It's just a commercial for a pharmaceutical company, but it's a good one. So maybe some guests will start to choose that segment because none of them have, and there's plenty of good commercials out there, or at least entertaining ones. So, okay, another segment that most people haven't done. So we're just going to kind of run with this for a little bit, and this is what this episode will be. Have you ever fallen for an infomercial or an ad? So basically what I'm asking them is like, you had no intention of ever purchasing this thing, but it was, like infomercials are good at that. They make you think you need that thing. Or sometimes you saw a commercial. I'm noticing this happens more and more as I get older. I used to never buy anything that I saw on TV, ever. But now with social media and it knows your likes and things, you're bombarded all the time with things that are actually kind of relevant to you. So for me, yeah, I wouldn't say I fell for it because I'd kind of been watching this kind of stuff for a while. I knew about them. I had some aches and pains, and I've always known that ice is a better thing to put on, damaged muscles or whatever for recovery. But yeah, once I started seeing these videos with that Matt Chenard doing these ice baths, I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to buy into it. So I did, and to clear up the embarrassing reel, my kids were like, I cannot believe you got on there half naked or whatever. I was like, guys, it's not for you and your friends. It's for everyone else who wants to see a, semi-overweight, not semi-overweight, but I'd say not even really a dad bod, but just overweight guy do something funny. And of course, Dallas points out that I kicked the chair and just act like nothing happened. People want to see that kind of silly stuff. They do. But that's real life. So, and the video, the full video was like 8 minutes talking about getting in, then getting in. We were trying to decide, how we're going to do it. I trimmed that down to like 1:15 so it would be a reel. So I didn't release everything. I kept some of the embarrassing stuff to myself. Okay, let's see. Another segment that most people don't choose is a near-death experience or, a really dangerous situation you've been in. I've had one where it wasn't junior high. It was high school. My mom was against me getting a moped, but one day my dad left, I want to say it was like $50 or $100. He left it on the table and he said, go get that moped your friend is selling. You can have it. And so shout out Sean Anderson. I bought this moped from him back in probably like 9th or 10th grade. I think you got to be 14 to drive them. So I was probably in 9th grade, maybe 10th. I can't remember. But I lived north of Dunkerton in the trailer courts. So I left Dunkerton and I was stopped waiting to turn left to get on to the main road there in the trailer courts because there was a car coming. This little Toyota pickup did not see me not parked, but, waiting to turn. And that was the one reason my mom said she didn't want me to have it, because people can't see those little things. They can't see your little brake light or your little turn signals. So I'm waiting for this car to come past me from the north. And next thing I know, I see this truck in my rearview mirror and I hear it. I hear the tires lock up and the rubber, you never forget that sound when somebody locks up their brakes and you hear the tires actually jumping on the pavement. It makes a certain noise. I gunned it as much as I could, and I was pushing with my feet to get off to the shoulder, and he ended up hitting me. He hit me right in the back. It shoved the rear tire forward, a few inches at least, because it broke through the air box that was right in front of it. Popped a bit of a wheelie. I hung on. I didn't fall off. I didn't go flying, but he had slowed down pretty good by the time he did hit me, but he hit me enough that, it damaged the moped, picked the front end up, and I kind of went forward pretty good. So yeah, that could have been real bad. And I almost got away with it because someone had given me, I think Kirby Marcourt. Shout out Kirby Marcourt. I think he had given me a similar moped. It was all broken down. It was just for parts. I was able to go home, swap out some parts, the airbox, everything. It was still pretty much drivable, and you wouldn't know that anything had ever been damaged. And I don't know how much time passed, but how do you think my mom found out about it? The people in the car that I was waiting for coming from the north, they ended up telling somebody at some point, and my mom found out. And I believe it was Garbuses. I believe it was my wife's former neighbors, the Garbuses. I believe they were coming and they saw it all happen. And that guy, I mean, he got out, he was all panicked and everything, and he was like, well, I'm glad you're okay and everything. And he got in his vehicle and took off. So if that guy is hearing this right now, like, yeah, everything worked out, but bro, that was a weird situation for a young kid. Okay, how about another one? Best memory from childhood. Okay, I had a couple of these. Some people don't really choose this one, but I remember I had an actual copy, a VHS copy of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. I had a VHS tape of that while it was still in theaters. My Aunt Betsy got me this for my birthday one year when I was a kid, and I don't know how, if she worked on the set of movies or she knew someone or what, but somehow I got that thing. And all the kids in the trailer park, my few buddies that I had, I remember how I revealed it to them too. I had them come over to my house, and I had it in the VCR, and all I did was hit eject. So when it popped out, it was handwritten. It said Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. And I instantly jumped in street cred right there because I had that while it was still in theaters. It was pretty cool. Some other great memories, I've kind of hinted to this, was like Saturday morning youth bowling. When you're not an athlete in your younger days, that's what you do. You bowl. And, man, stopping and getting chocolate milk and fresh hot donuts from an actual donut shop, that was good. Nothing better. Then one thing that could rival that would be if your mom and dad bowl, they have league night. And what do they give you to stay busy? They give you a crisp $5 bill. And when you put that $5 bill in the quarter machine, it's like that sound is like a winning slot machine at a casino to a little kid. You feel like you've got quarters to last for a month. You really don't, but if you go nice and slow, they might last you an hour, maybe. And there was nothing better than getting $5 in quarters to go play in the arcade. That was good stuff. So maybe some of my guests will choose some of these segments coming up this year. That would be great. I do have a few things built up in the Dumb Dads segment. So I believe it was on Dallas's episode. I said that there was a point in my childhood where we moved every 4 years. Obviously, that's not a lot. What I meant was we moved at the end of the school year, like 4 years in a row. Not every 4 years, but every year, 4 years in a row. It seemed like that. And I know the one time me and my wife, we were down in Louisiana, I actually tried to drive to all the houses that we used to live in the city and stuff like that, and it was really cool, really cool. So I also did want to clear up, this isn't the Dumb Dad segment, but I wanted to clear up a comment. I believe Bridget made it on our Christmas episode. We were talking about our Thanksgiving Day, our traditional Thanksgiving Day football game that we have, Thanksgiving Day. And Bridget says she's never won, or she's got a losing record. And she said last year was her closest year, and we lost on the last play, and there was some cheating involved. So for those of you who don't know, what she was referring to was, I believe it was tied, and we just said next score wins, and they ran a play. I believe it was Sarah, James, and Timothy, maybe. I can't remember. I know Sarah and James were on the same team, and they ran a play, and JJ, they faked like they were going to James, and I was guarding him, and he went down like he tore his ACL or blew out his hamstring or something. He went down, and it looked real. It looked like he actually like slipped and hyperextended something. And he screamed, and so I stop in my tracks, and I'm instantly like headed over there. And I don't even remember if it was Timothy or Sarah or who scored, but yeah, they just ran in because I wasn't going to run him down. I was focused on that, and he faked it. He totally faked it. There was no injury. So that's what she meant by cheating, because had they not scored that, I think we were going to win. But those are good family memories. So let's try a few What Is Up topics that no previous guest has chosen just to fill up some time. We're doing pretty good on time here. So I always tell my guests they can choose topics that are more serious or less serious or a combination of both. It's whatever they want. And so one thing I've always wondered about this all the way back from my childhood is what is up with the little black comb that they put in vending machines sometimes? Who actually gets in a position where they need a little, pocket-sized black comb? No one ever walks up to a vending machine, wanting a bag of chips or M&Ms or a honey bun, and then changes their mind and pushes G6 to get that, to become the proud owner of a new shiny black little pocket comb. Come on, man. Like, aren't we wasting a spot in a vending machine by putting a black comb in there? I think we are. Like, I've never seen anybody buy it. You guys got to think about this sort of thing sometimes. How about this one? This one's a little more serious. What is up with trends these days? And how they start and spread so fast. Okay, I've noticed that with everyone seeing the same stuff on social media, ideas spread so much faster, and then bam, it becomes a trend. I mean, so I understand what is up with it, but that's how we start this segment. So To be more specific, here's one example. Just the other day, I was thinking, what is up with everyone doing the same games at their Christmas get-togethers, whether it's parties or with family? Everyone's doing the same games. Everyone's scooping the ribbons into a bowl. Everyone's doing the thing with the marshmallows. My wife, Sarah, she lines up all these games for our family Christmas with my in-laws. And we go down to the Legion and we do all, and of course I see all these games and everyone had a blast, you know, kids and adults and everything. And I just kept thinking though, everyone did these this year. Like, so what? Like, should that make it less fun because it's not original? And I was like, man, you're being kind of cynical. Like, dude, just relax, you idiot. Then the very next day, I see a video. I believe it was Jep and Jessica Robertson on Instagram. And I already know that I am going to steal an idea from them, just like we all do, just like everyone else does. And I was just kind of complaining about it. Like, now I'm going to do the same thing. And I already told my family, like, I'm stealing this. We'll be doing this next year. Jep hosted his own family version of the Dundee Awards. And it was hilarious. He had a little karaoke machine, so he had music, intro music and stuff like that. And for those of you guys who don't know, or you never watched The Office, you might not be familiar. These are just funny awards that Michael Scott, a character on the show The Office, he made up to give to people in the office, just like kind of a year-end award show. So I start thinking, I'm brainstorming of all the different characteristics of my family members and things they've done or said and how I could somehow highlight that by coming up with a clever award for them and for that. And I got quite the list going already. I'm saving them on my phone as I go, and there's a whole year for me to brainstorm yet and get the creative juices flowing. So, but you see what I did? I stole the idea just like everyone else does with everything else they see on social media or TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or Pinterest. And it's funny how that works. You know, how I was just kind of like complaining, everyone's stealing from everyone else, and then I'm doing the very same thing the next day. So that's why I tell my kids, just give it time, and they will notice that everything that they see happen to someone else, or every mistake or embarrassing situation someone else is in, and they just happen to be able to take notice to it, take it easy on them, because if you just give it enough time, you'll be in that spot too. You'll be in that spot with your car in the ditch, or you'll be in that spot where you slipped or tripped and fell, you know, whether it's walking into school or, you know, in the gym in front of everybody at a game or in class, you know. You'll be in that spot where you're pulled over and every car that goes by you, you know, it just gets more and more embarrassing. Or you actually got in an accident, you know. You'll be in that spot. I was making fun of Sarah for stealing these generic Christmas games that everyone else was doing, you know, everyone else on the internet, and then within 24 hours, I'm admitting that I'm going to steal this same exact thing that I saw someone else doing. So that's it. Yeah. Okay, so this was kind of fun, different episode. I hope you guys enjoyed the first episode of 2025. I wanted to keep it a little bit short, do some things we've never done, and kind of tease what we got coming up in 2025. So, but more importantly, I hope you guys had a great Christmas. I hope you have a great year in 2025. You know my advice. If you don't feel satisfied with life, if you know that you need some more joy, hope, peace, you got to look up. You got to look up. The pleasures of this earthly life are temporary. That they will never fully satisfy, and they don't last forever. That is a fact that can't be denied. We're made for something more than the superficial material rewards of this world. And I've been on both sides in life. I have, trying to satisfy myself by doing things my way, and then kind of doing a 180 and saying, okay, God, you can have control, and I'm going to try and follow you, you know, by accepting Jesus and trying to walk with him and doing things his way. So let me tell you, one is remarkably better than the other. One is way more fulfilling than the other. And that is just one thing that I want my audience to think about as they consume this podcast. You know, I'm not going to cram it down your throat, but the Christian worldview is going to come up, you know, when we're talking with guests and things like that. But I'm not going to force feed you anything. We're going to have fun. We're going to talk about real life, but you're going to know where I stand as well. So I want you guys to think about this as you consume this podcast. To you, who is Jesus, and what is your relationship with him? We all have numbered days on this earth, and we all got to answer that question at some point. So I'm just saying, man, make the right decision and make it now before it's too late. If we look to God and His Word, He will truly show us what is up. If you're willing to look and seek, He will show you what is up. I still think the Bible gives the best answers and the best explanations for why the world is the way it is and why we are the way we are and why we behave the way we behave. If you need more help or you want to know more, you can call me, you can text me, you can email me anytime. You can join me at Sunday at FBC in Dunkerton or online on our Facebook page if you're not in the area. If it's more comfortable for you, just email me, whatisuppodcast@gmail.com, and I will personally share the gospel with you so that you can know for sure that God is real and that He loves you and wants a relationship with you. That is what you were created for. Even you, no matter what you've done, no matter who you are, no matter what you're doing right now or where you've been, He wants a relationship with you. That's why we were created. But we got to choose Him. He doesn't force it. That's how it works. Okay? That's where hope and joy and peace and all the best things in life, that's where it comes from. If you haven't figured it out by now, there's nothing on this earth that's going to satisfy us completely or permanently. There's nothing else we can put our hope in. Everything else will let us down. That there is no other person, no government, no president. I know everyone's looking forward to Inauguration Day. Trust me, he's just the president. He's not a savior. You know, no preacher. Everybody will let us down. Everybody is imperfect. Okay? We got to look up. So if you're listening or watching, which I hope you're all watching by now on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, be sure to follow and leave a 5-star review. Maybe leave a comment. That would help a lot. Then let your opinion be heard by answering our poll question. If you're listening or watching somewhere where you can see that poll question, go ahead and answer that. If you're watching in stunning high definition on our YouTube channel, subscribe. Hit that thumbs up button. Leave a comment. I welcome feedback, comments, questions, even criticism. I'll listen to it. I'll probably read it. If you criticize me, I'll read it. Help me hit my goal this year by doubling my subscribers and followers across the board by sharing with everyone you know. Don't be embarrassed. This is entertaining and encouraging at the same time. I thank you guys so much for listening. I appreciate all your support. I hope this podcast really encourages you and kind of entertains you at the same time. Lord willing, I'll talk to you on the next one.